Yo, what is going on, everyone? Guiding Light here, back with another Destiny 2 guide, and in this one I'll show you guys how you can traverse the Abyss. Now in this one, we are going to have to claim a Chalice of Light at the start in order to get this activity started. Now there are a few new mechanics they've added to this in order to make it a bit more difficult, so there will be a few things you have to do in order to turn these lanterns on. So basically what you have to do is almost the same as the first step where you would claim the Chalice and wait for the buff to go full. So this time around, once you claim the Chalice and the buff goes full, you will then gain the ability to Enlighten. Once you gain the ability to Enlighten, that will actually turn the lanterns on and get rid of your weighted darkness. So what the best thing to do is have a rotation of all 6 of your players in order to pick up the buff. So the first player will pick up the buff to start the activity, and you guys will move up forward. Now, in order to charge up that buff on the Chalice of Light, you just have to get kills. So for every kill you get, the bar will fill up. Now, once the bar is completely full, you'll want to swap the buff, the Enlighten buff, over to the second player. But once the buff has been swapped, you'll be able to Enlighten the lamp. Enlightening the lamp will then allow you to get rid of weighted darkness. Now, on the first lamp, the third lamp, the fifth, and then the eighth lamp, you will need to have actually preserve the lamps in order to turn them on. In order to do this, all you have to do is find a little pod. The pods will look the same on each portal that needs to be preserved on. In order to preserve, all you have to do is take this bark of the Chalice of Light and simply place it into the portal to preserve. Once you preserve it, another player will have to pick it back up, but once you do this, it will turn on the lamp and activate it. So once the next lamp is activated, you can then keep chaining and passing off the chalice to each player until it's charged up, and then just simply keep moving on to the next lamps. Now, it is a lot to keep track of, but once you and your team get coordinated and know your roles, I think it's actually not too hard. So just take your time moving from lamp to lamp, and it's going to be the exact same strategy up until you get to the very end. So just keep track of where the Chalice of Light is and who's picking it up next. As the ball gets filled up, once the bar is filled, the second player will need to pick it up. Now occasionally you will need to come over to these pods and preserve the charge. Once the charge is preserved, it will turn the next lamp on, and another player will need to pick it up. Just remember to keep using the lantern to get rid of your weighted darkness before moving on to the next lamp, but keep in mind you can't stay too long as the lanterns will blow up. If you do give it too long, the lanterns will blow up as you're trying to remove weighted darkness. So you just have to go one lamp at a time. It will progressively get harder due to the obstacles in the way, so keep a lookout for holes in the ground and the lantern swinging back and forth. Now, if one or two of your teammates die along the way, that's actually not a bad thing, but at the very, very end, there will be a bunch of unstoppable champions, so make sure that if you get to the end that you have weapons ready to deal with unstoppable ogres. On top of that, there will be a massive swarm of enemies once you do get to the end, so you will want to keep an eye out. Once you get to the end, it's not over, and you really do have to keep yourself covered up and ready with wells and bubbles if you need them. So just continue along the path, keep swapping off the spark until you get to the very, very end. You will need to go lantern to lantern until eventually you do get to the end. Now, once you get to the end, keep in mind, guys, the chalice, you still have to pass it off. So you will have to keep track of the chalice even up until the very, very end once you get to the boss. So keep in mind keeping track of that chalice and swapping between players, because if you don't, the player holding the chalice will explode and then you'll have to start all over again. So the mechanics towards the ends have changed just slightly, and there's still a few things you have to do once you get to the end. So I'm going to let the video play out so you don't get lost on the route from the lanterns, and I'll see you guys at the end. So once you do get to the end, there will be a plate that you have to charge up just like at the start of the raid. But this time around, there will be a massive swarm of enemies, just a major, major swarm of lots of ogres and the cursed thrall as well. There will also be unstoppables, so be ready for that. There's not too many safe spots you can stand in. Like in D1, there were a few safe spots you can kind of get in and block yourself, but now they do seem to patch most of them. So just get ready to take out all the unstoppables and all of the enemies, chain your supers together, and just keep defending off the horde. Now, eventually, once you've defended the horde off for long enough, the bridge will be built, and from there, you just have to run away and get across to the other side. So, hope this video helps you guys out to get through this part, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.